Hi, thanks for joining us. Today we're discussing building support networks for wellness. What that looks like is we're going to reflect on wellness. I'm going to invite you to do some personal reflection, and you can also write things down in a journal if you have one. And then we're going to build a support network map, which is going to be a tool that you will take with you and hopefully use to support your wellness and self-care. And what you'll need to participate is an open mind, non-judgmental attitude, and to keep focused on the positive, helpful people in your life. And I suggest paper and a pen. If you don't have that, you can use your phone. Maybe there's a notes app on your phone that you can use to draw and to take notes. It's really up to you, whatever is comfortable. And feel free to press pause so that you can focus on your reflection or take notes. So the first reflection I'll ask you to do is just to think about your day so far. You know, we all have had a whole day until you've pressed play on this recording. What was your day like? Did anyone help you? Even if it was somebody saying, here's a cup of coffee, or, encouraging you, or maybe even a wake-up call. I don't know, you tell me. Did anyone help you this morning? What did that look like? And reflect on, did you need any help? Was there something that you needed assistance with and nobody helped you, or there wasn't anybody to help you? So if you didn't get help, what was that like if you needed it? Just take a moment to reflect. So do we need people? We were either helped this morning or we weren't helped this morning, and that impacts us in our day. And there are things that we can do on our own. In fact, there are things that we have to do on our own. And there are things that we need other people to do. Human beings are social, relational people, which means that I learned to speak because somebody spoke to me, right? I learned in relation to another person. I learned to love because somebody loved me. I learned love in relation to another person. And I can be independent and do things on my own. I can pay my bills and take care of myself. I don't need anybody else for that. So how we need people and when, I want you to think about it in terms of a continuum of needing people. So we'll call that dependency. I'm sure you've heard the term independence, and sometimes we see that as the goal of being independent, and I want us to think about what that means. Independent is at far end, an extreme end on the dependency continuum. What that means is if you are independent, it means you don't need anybody else. You can do everything alone. And that kind of, even when I just said that, sounds stubborn and independent, And the truth is we do need people. We are social, relational people. No man is an island. And then codependence is the other extreme, which is I can't do anything on my own. I need people for everything. I need validation from people. I don't have it for myself. I need help and assistance from people. I can't help or assist myself. And that's an extreme too, because it leaves you vulnerable because you can't manage things on your own. So you need other people all the time. And the truth is we can't always have people all the time. And then the independence, again, on the other side of the extreme is I don't need anybody. I can do everything on my own. And that's quite lonely over there. So those are the extremes. So think about where your relationships lie. Where do you want your relationships to lie? Are your relationships codependent, where, your value, your worth, your needs are all kind of hooked into another person? Or are you independent and you kind of withdraw and isolate and shut in yourself because you've put up a wall, but you don't need other people? So hopefully you've come to the conclusion that we need something in the middle. So we call that interdependence. And it's that sweet spot, that balance in the middle where, of course, I need people. I'm social. Human beings are relational. I need love. I need warmth. I need help. And I need leisure. I need so much from other people. And again, because it's balanced, you have also things that you can do on your own. I can take care of myself. I'm responsible for myself. I'm accountable to myself. And hopefully my value, my worth, and my self-esteem come from myself. So that's what it would be like in the middle. So interdependent. So we need people and we need ourselves, and we have both. Just take a moment to reflect on if you are building healthy relationships that are interdependent. Think about your wellness in general. You've heard this analogy. It's like I'm juggling all of these balls in the air. What's going to fall to the floor? Like when is a ball going to drop when you have so many balls to juggle? And you can imagine that that means work and school and friends and fun and finances and family responsibilities and on and on and on. So if we have too many balls in the air, chances are one is going to drop. And when we think about this in terms of support networks, do we have people in our lives that are helping us to steady ourselves so that we can juggle better? Are there people in our lives that are even willing to take a ball out of our hands? Or are there people that just keep adding more to our pile, to our struggle, and are actually influencing us to be overwhelmed? So think about how the people in your life influence and impact the things going on in your life. So think about what are some ways that you focus on your wellness. Take a moment to reflect, write something down. What are some ways that you are able to take care of yourself so that you can juggle the balls that you have in the air, or so that you can be more responsive and realistic about how many balls you can juggle? Have a thought about that. So this little blob has a huge to-do list, and maybe you can relate with this feeling. I have so many things to do today. And if you see at the bottom, the only check the blob has on their to-do list is cry. And they can put a check there because that's the only thing they were able to manage to do with such a big list. Can anyone relate to that feeling? So can we do this to-do list on our own? If we are independent, if this blob is independent, they have to just do every single thing on their own. Remember where that was on the continuum. It was on the extreme of being independent. We need the sweet spot in the middle where we can be interdependent. So ask yourself, can you do this on your own? So we need to have a support network so that we can have that interdependent, healthy relationship spot in the middle. So what is a support network? What does that mean for you? Have you ever taken stock of all the people in your life? Who's in your life and why? Sometimes we get to an age where we realize some people in our lives just because we've known them the longest. But what is it going to look like as we evolve and mature as people? Is just the fact that we share a history together going to be enough to stay connected? Or maybe that's a beautiful gift because you have someone that holds your memories with you. But who is in your support network? Is your family supportive, or do they influence some kind of negative behavior, negative feelings within you? What is your support network like? We can't do this alone, right? So our support network for that interdependence in the middle is about having people that are there for us when we need us and are cheering us on when we can do things on our own. And we all need help and support and love and attention that's positive and healthy. And we can, of course, do so much and most of everything in our lives on our own, but then in relation to those other people. So what is a support network to you? This is a draft of the support network. This is my support network based on the roles that I have for people in my life. So I don't just have a support network. I have specific people that serve specific roles. And it's not like I had interviews and assigned people roles and they're getting paid like it's a job. It's that there are different kinds of people I need in my life. And I've subconsciously filled those roles. So I'll just share a little bit about the roles of the people in my life. I have a cheerleader. A cheerleader is somebody who is always on my team, thinks so positively, sees me with rose-colored glasses, and thank goodness, because sometimes I just need somebody to be on my team. I have a critic, somebody who's realistic, who is grounded, who's going to be honest with me and tell me when something is like not good enough or that I need to work harder, and they encourage me and challenge me in a way that's very critical of what I'm doing. I have a helper, somebody who assists me, who is always there if I need a favor, and who does that with joy, like it's a pleasure to help. And that's really nice because it can be hard to ask for help. I have a teacher, somebody who is further along than me in their knowledge, and so I have so much to learn from them. There's a mentorship relationship there, and I get to learn and grow. And then I have a fun facilitator, and this is a person that brings joy and lightness and, of course, fun Leisure is an important part of your day. And I didn't know what to call this role. And so I asked my fun facilitator, hey, what would you call this role? And they said fun facilitator. So I thought I'll leave it to the experts and I'll use that term that she had. So these are just a few roles. If any of what I just mentioned resonated with you, if you feel like, yeah, I do have a cheerleader, or I need a helper, just start thinking about who you have and who you need. And who else do you need? These are just some roles that I mentioned. Do you have other people? What are those roles like? How do they influence your life and your wellness? So I want you to think about who's in your life, and if you bring the wrong thing to the wrong person, how that could create conflict. What do I mean by that? Would you take car wash supplies to a potluck? Oh, because you get to the potluck and they'd be like, where are those Rice Krispie squares you always make? We don't need car wash supplies here. Would you bring your homework to the opera? No, because then you can't be present and enjoy the opera. And I'm sure your typing on your laptop is going to disturb the other people. So you're bringing the wrong thing to the wrong place. So what happens if I bring good news to the critic in my life? That role, critic, person that's realistic and honest, but is also critical. If I bring good news to the critic in my life, they could try to use their lens, because that's what they're good at, and thank goodness. But when it comes to bringing it to the good news, they might tear it all apart and make me think about all the ways that my good news isn't very good anymore. But what did I need in that moment based on those other roles? Who would you want to bring good news to, right? And if I bring good news to the critic and they tear it down, it's not really their fault. That's who they are. I needed to know not to bring my good news to my critic, right? Because I'm bringing the wrong thing to the wrong place. I'm bringing homework to the opera. So we have people in our lives that serve different roles. Again, we're not judging them as good or bad. They're all necessary. So to prevent conflict, we have to bring the right thing to the right person to get the best outcome. Is that making sense? So let's practice. Let's match the person to the role. So I have the roles on the right. And here's the situation. When you want to be challenged to improve, who are you going to bring that to? You're going to bring it to the critic because they're going to challenge you. They're going to call you on stuff. They want you to improve. They're realistic. They're going to be honest with you. How about when you have questions and need some wisdom? You can bring that to your teacher, right? They're going to mentor you. They're going to show you the road. They're going to share resources with you. They're going to share their expertise. Great. Now I know more. What about when you have really good news? What did we just learn? Don't bring your good news to your critic. So who would you bring your good news to? Your cheerleader. They're on your team. They're so happy for you. You get to be positive. Be positive with them in the moment, and just enjoy your good news. How about when you feel alone or bored? You can bring that to your fun facilitator, right? You're feeling alone, you want to do something, your fun facilitator brings that lightness, brings that energy, and is a great person to share leisure with. And what about when you have a problem that needs to be solved? Depends what the problem is, but you might bring that to your helper and they might be able to help you. You can also bring that to your teacher. So you can bring something to two different people as long as it fits, okay? Because if it doesn't fit, it can cause tension. Like I said before, if I bring good news to my critic and then I'm unhappy with their response, there might be tension in the relationship, but I really should have known not to bring my good news to my critic. So hopefully that's starting to make sense. And now we're going to draw the support network. In order to do that, we have to think about the people in our lives. So take a moment, feel free to press pause, write a list of supportive people in your life. And remember when I said be open-minded and non-judgmental? We're not starting to be mad that we don't have the right people in our lives or who's on that list or not on that list. We're not judging that. We're just writing the list. This can include professionals as well. Maybe it's a counselor, maybe it's a ceramics teacher, maybe it's a massage therapist. Do you have professionals in your life that are in your support network that fit some role? So just take a moment to write that down. So now we're going to draw the support network. So first, draw a circle in the middle of your page. Then you're going to draw lines coming out of your circle. Remember, don't judge your drawing. You're not painting the Mona Lisa. So here's your circle, and you're going to draw some lines. How many lines do you want to draw? Well, I had 5 different roles, and I asked you to think of other roles. And if you did, then maybe you'll have more lines. And if you're thinking, I don't really know what roles are in my life, start with 2, and just so you have a place to start to map it out. It's really up to you. So now that you have that, you're going to draw circles at the ends of your lines. And this is to draw out the network. And remember not to judge what this looks like. It looks like a constellation space station or something. It just gives us something to map out so that you actually have a tool and something to look back at. So now what we're going to do, that we have our circles, is that we're going to choose some of those roles. So some examples that I had from before, remember cheerleader, critic, teacher, helper, fun facilitator. I've just added here coach. Maybe it's a different kind of way of cheering you on where they're also being critical. Maybe it's 2 roles in one. I mentioned a memory keeper, like someone who you've known for a really long time and understands you and has that experience. And if you don't know where to begin, I just suggest you begin with a helper. Hopefully you have somebody that helps you in your life. So helper and cheerleader. So just in each circle, write 1 role, and whichever one speaks to you. And then remember that list of people that you made in your life. We're going to put all those people like through a sieve and figure out what roles those people have in our lives for our support network. Remember, people can be more than one thing, and you can have more than one person for 1 role. And we're not judging us in a deficit mindset like, oh, I don't have enough. Let's just spend a moment focusing on what we do have. So my helper is Amelia. Amelia is so supportive and she's always willing to help. She asks, do you need help? And she's helped me move. You know, she's always willing with a positive attitude and a smile on her face to help. And that's really incredible to me because I can be on that extreme part of the continuum where I'm independent and stubborn. And so someone who can help me with joy allows me to receive that help better. And my cheerleader is my friend Nicole. She is always on my team. She would fiercely protect me against a black bear. I don't know if that is a cheerleader role, but I just mean she doesn't want anyone to look at me the wrong way. And she just thinks that the sun shines out of my head. So thankfully, I can bring good news to her and she'll just be so happy for me, so proud of me. And thank goodness I have her in my life. So I want you to spend some time drawing this out, right? Write down the name of the person that fits the role that makes sense to you. And if you want to keep adding lines and circles, go for it. Remember to press pause. I got a little ahead of myself. That's okay. So spend some time doing this. Circles, lines, people, roles. Who is in your support network? Who supports you and how? So that we can prevent conflict and also get our needs met. That's the goal. So how do we use this thing? So now that you've mapped it out, reflect on how you might use it. So for some people, they might use this so that they make sure to bring the right thing to the right person, especially when you're feeling vulnerable. So check in with yourself and how am I feeling? If I brought my good news to my critic right now, could I handle what the critic has to say? And if I bring some problem I need to work on to my fun facilitator, am I going to be able to handle that they just want to go out and have fun and they're not going to be able to help me with my problem? So there's so many different ways that we need to bring the right thing to the right person, and we might not be able to handle or manage the response if we don't think ahead. So let's think ahead. So that's one way you can use this tool, is to think about bringing the right thing to the right person. Another thing you can think is, once you've looked at it, you can think, I'm not alone. I do have people in my life, and I do have these roles in my life that help me meet my needs. And you might also look at your support network map and think, this is who I am to other people. I'm the cheerleader, or I'm the teacher, right? And maybe it'll help you understand what you're providing to other people, and you can feel confident in your gift. So however you're going to look at this, however you're going to use the tool, is very personal and it's up to you. Your wellness is personal and up to you. But I suggest that mapping it out would help you to use your support network to maximize and enhance your wellness. I think that that's how you could use it. So here's some next steps and things to consider. Check in with yourself, check in if you're feeling lonely, and you can go to this support network map and see who can support you in that moment of loneliness. so that you can know who to go to for what, prevent conflict and tension in your life, and get the best support that you need in that moment to enhance your wellness. You are not alone. Even if you mapped out one person on your support network, that is one person that is on your team. And we all need people on our team. We cannot do this alone. And the goal is interdependence. Remember that sweet spot in the middle where I can do things on my own and I have people and need people who can support me. That's the goal. So I want to say thank you for spending this time together. Check out peer support on Instagram and make an appointment with the Student Experience portal if you want to work on a support network with a peer supporter, or if you just want to talk about how you're doing or what's going on for you, because you're not alone and your peers are here to support you. Thank you so much. Take care.